It's time for the Jockstrap Sports MMA podcast. Welcome to the Jockstrap Sports MMA podcast. This is Justin and that's Adam. We are going to go over the UFC Fight Night Iaquinta versus Cowboy, also known as UFC Fight Night 151, or UFC on ESPN Plus 9, or UFC Fight Night Ottawa. So that's pretty cool. It's
a lot of different names.
Bunch of different names. My thinking, and I'm going to look this up afterwards, but I kind of go with what the Twitter hashtag is, and I'm betting it's going to be UFC Ottawa. I think that's what the UFC hashtag will be. So,
okay.
Yeah, UFC Fight Night Ottawa. And how we do this is we go over the picks, we go over some of the bets, go over the lines that online betting has on it, and then we will go over the old card, the last week's card kind of thing. Last week I gave some Bellator picks, and it looks like minus Rory McDonald, it looks like all the picks were right, but I mean they were all heavy favorites anyway. So that's that. Let's get into it though. This is going to be on May 4th at the Canadian Tire Center, and it's in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. The main card, we always do the meat first, so we just do the if this is all you want to listen to of the episode, there you go. We're going to go over the main card and the main event, which is lightweight Al Iaquinta versus Donald Cowboy Cerrone. Yeah, man, I like both these guys, so I wish both these guys could win, but I know I'm going to have to pick someone. Al Iaquinta is 14-4-1. He has 7 KOs, 1 submission, 6 decisions. His last loss was a short notice fight with Khabib Nurmagomedov, who is the champion right now. Donald Cowboy Cerrone is 35-11, 10 TKOs, 17 submission, and 8 decisions. He's been fighting at welter recently, but now he's gone back down to lightweight for this fight. I said this would be a Showtime decision. I'm heavily leaning Iaquinta. I tried to justify to go for Cerrone. I'm like, maybe he would throw up a submission or something, and then that he would be able to get Iaquinta out of there. But Iaquinta, especially against Khabib, had really good wrestling, and he was able to just kind of keep the fight standing for a long period of time. He did get taken down a few times, but Khabib is like a monster wrestler. I think Iaquinta will win. I'm kind of leaning towards him. Cerrone's got some good striking though, but I'll go with Iaquinta. I bet it'll be a decision. I think both these guys will kind of equal each other out a little bit.
So Iaquinta is minus 130.
Yeah,
Cowboy Cerrone would have been even money.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's pretty close. That's really close actually. So,
oh
yeah. I just kind of I'm hearing myself now. I just really see.
Sorry about that.
It's all good. No worries. I just see Iaquinta winning that fight, though. Next one's middleweight Derek Brunson against Elias Theodorou. Derek Brunson is 18-7-0, 11 KO, 3 submissions, 4 decisions. It's his 15th UFC fight. When I was looking at his fights, I thought this was pretty interesting. Most of his fights were on fight nights. He only had 5 pay-per-view fights, and 10 of his fights were in fight night fights. There's some notable wins here. He beat Uriah Hall by TKO. He beat Daniel Kelly by KO, which everyone kind of saw. I actually felt bad for Daniel Kelly when he went into that fight. He's just too slow, especially against Brunson. He beat Lyoto Machida by KO, but Machida was kind of, I don't know, he was kind of 1 foot out of the UFC anyway. He did lose to Israel Adesanya, Jacare, Whitaker. So he tends to rush, and like he had some recent losses where he's just like rushing in, trying to throw haymakers. Elias Theodorou is 16-2, 6 KO, 1 submission, 9 decisions. 2 losses were Brad Tavares and Thiago Santos via decision. Thiago Santos is a beast now. So the biggest thing about Elias is he fights smart. He's fought guys similarly to Derek Brunson and Eric Anders. Eric Anders kind of like came at him and tried to strike, but Elias was able to point strike him and win by decision. I got Elias to win. I just think that in this, it's going to be like a brute force against a smart fighter, and the smart fighter is going to be backing up, but he's going to be tagging him, I think. I see it as a decision, but he might be able to get the TKO depending on how hard Derek Brunson's rushing in at him. So I got Elias Theodorou by decision.
You're taking the underdog.
Oh, no kidding.
Not a big underdog. -110 versus -120.
Yeah,
So
that's not a big
these
underdog.
first two fights real close.
Yeah, that's not a big underdog. I mean, Brunson can get a haymaker and knock him out. It's just Elias fights smart. I see Elias winning that fight for sure. But it's puncher's chance. Next one's a featherweight fight. Cub Swanson against Shane Burgos. Cub Swanson's 25-10, 11 KO, 4 submission, 10 decisions. 17th UFC fight. His first UFC fight was on UFC Fox 1. That's pretty cool. He lost his last 3 fights to the last 3 fights he lost were to Frankie Edgar, Brian Ortega, and before that he lost to Frankie and Holloway. He lost 7 fights via submission, so 7 of his 10 losses were submission. Shane Burgos is 11-1, 4 KOs, 5 submissions, 2 decisions. It's a 6th UFC fight, but he hasn't really fought anyone the caliber that Cub has fought. I am a Cub fan. I do like Cub Swanson. I got Cub winning via TKO. I think if Shane can wrestle and try to go for a submission, he can win this fight. But if he's going to try to strike with Cub, I think Cub still has it. And I think Cub will TKO him.
For taking Cub, bit of a bigger underdog. He's plus 145.
Oh, that's
this
pretty
is
good.
Shane Burgos would have been -175.
Okay. Wow, these are close fights. This fight card so far.
Yeah. The card so far is real close. I wonder if it has to do anything with May 4th, also the Canelo Alvarez fight. So for all the boxing fans, maybe the UFC felt like they had to make it a little bit more of an exciting card with having to compete with boxing.
Yeah, and I heard the guy that Canelo's fighting is no slouch either. So I guess it's a pretty good fight. That's right. I forgot. So it's a big fight thing for Saturday, and it's also I believe it's also the Kentucky Derby. So
is it really?
Yeah. So
Kentucky Derby, Canelo fight, UFC fight night, and Cinco de Mayo all on the same weekend.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
I better get ready to sell a lot of beer.
Yeah, dude, you better sell a lot of beer. All right, next fight, bantamweight. Brad, I believe they call him the Canadian Superman, Katana, against. Oh man, this is not.
Merab Dvalishvili.
It's hard when all those consonants are grouped up together,
Yeah. I thought I had a handle on it, but I obviously did not.
Yeah. So it's Brad against Merab, or whatever. Brad is 8-0, 1 KO, 2 submission, 5 decisions. He likes to go to decisions, it seems like. It's his 3rd UFC fight. He actually has some pretty good highlights if you watch. It's like, man, this guy actually only has 1 KO, but he tends to knock people down. Merab is 8-4, 2 KO, 1 submission, 5 decisions. 4th UFC fight. He's 1-2 in the last ones. He lost to Frankie Saenz and Ricky Simon. He beat Tyrion Ware via decision in the last fight. I got Brad Katana. I think he's going to win this and keep his winning streak. This is almost, I don't know if it's a layup fight for him or what. It's a weird, to me it's kind of a weird booking, but I think Brad Katana can win this for sure.
Brad Katana winning this? I mean, you're picking another underdog, and I love it.
Are you kidding?
Brad Katana at plus 135.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's good. Maybe I'm missing something. Is he going up a weight class or something? Maybe he's going up. I don't know. See, I didn't research too much on this. I should have, but I got Brad Katana. I think he'll win.
Hey, going with the gut.
Yeah,
I like it.
Heavyweight, Walt Harris versus Sergey Spivak. Walt Harris is 11 and set. So one website says he's 12-7 because he had a win, but the fight was so boring they took a winnow against him and made it a no contest. That was his last fight against Andrei Arlovsky. So he's 11-7-1. He has 11 KOs. It's his 10th UFC fight. He beat Chase Sherman and Cody East. Cody East was kind of a douchebag. I believe he got arrested for like domestic violence or something. He had a short stint in the UFC. Anyway, so Sergey Spivak is 9-0, 4 KO, 5 submissions, first UFC fight. I'm thinking that this is going to be another underdog. I don't know. I tried to gear myself up and like Walt Harris, but especially after that last fight, I'm just not into it. I'm taking Sergey. I believe maybe submission. He'll have to get him down to the ground, so he'll have to weather the storm. But I'll take Sergey to win.
Another.
Yeah, I figured this was
start sounding like DJ Khaled. Another one.
I figured this was an underdog.
Plus 135.
Oh, that's not as big as an underdog I thought he was going to be. But, all right. The next one, middleweight. Marc-Andre Barriault against Andrew Sanchez. Marc-Andre is 11-1, 8 KO, 3 decisions. His first UFC fight. He fought in a promotion called TKO previously, so that's pretty interesting. And let's see here. Okay, so there was some news about these fights. So Oleinik was supposed to fight Walt Harris. This is the last fight, but Oleinik fought on a couple cards ago against Alistair Overeem, and that's where Sergey came. So Sergey is kind of like it's not a complete short notice fight, but it's kind of a short notice fight. That was the news on that. Sorry, I made a note to talk about that, but whatever. Anyway, back to Andrew Sanchez versus Marc-Andre. So Andrew Sanchez is 10-4, 5 KO, 2 submission, 3 decisions, 6 UFC fight. He beat the old Khalil Rountree because Khalil Rountree has turned things around. And Trevor Smith, he lost to Anthony Smith and Kevin Casey. I think Andrew Sanchez is going to bounce back, and he's probably going to win by decision. And he might be an underdog too.
No, not the underdog.
Oh man,
it's not too far off though. It was
right.
minus 165, so little less money to be made.
Holy cow!
But not terrible.
These are some good. You can make some money on this card.
Yeah, I mean, so far, I mean, I don't think nothing's been minus 200 or even really close.
Yeah, that's pretty great. Next fight, women's bantamweight. This is the headliner of the prelims. Macy Chiasson, remember this lady? She's against Sarah Moraes.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I remember her name.
Chiasson. Yeah.
Sounds like Alan's grandma.
So, Chiasson's coming in to replace Sarah Moraes' old opponent, Leah Letson. So Macy Chiasson is 4-0, 1 KO, 2 submission, 1 decision, third UFC fight. She's finished her last 2 UFC fights. She finished the fighters. One was by rear naked choke, the other one was by TKO. Sarah Moraes is 5-4, 2 KO, 2 submission, 1 decision. She has a win over Ashley Evans Smith and Juliana Pena. Those are the 2 big names. She has lost 3 of 4 of her last 4 fights, and that includes Jessica Andrade, who's fighting for the title right now. Sarah's probably going to try to wrestle her and everything, but last fight I remember Chiasson having some pretty good wrestling defense. I think Chiasson's going to win this by TKO, even if she's coming in short notice and going against a person that's probably going to try to wrestle her. So yeah, and she's probably a heavy favorite. I don't know though.
Our first heavy favorite of the day. Everything's looking real close. There's only really 2 fights that stand out as extremely heavy favorites on one side.
Yeah.
And this is one of them. Minus 650.
Holy cow. Yeah, that's not worth it. That's not even worth it.
Yeah, they're not giving Sarah Morris any kind of credit here.
No, because what could happen here is Sarah Morris could hold her down for 3 rounds and win by decision. I'm not seeing that happening, but it could. And then you lost a minus 600 fight. If they stand in and